Eternal Return full release has just turned 1 year old, and a year ago, after a full night of playing 1.0, I wrote myself a letter. What's poppin', everyone? It's your boy Levi, and I actually forgot that I did this. I had an alarm set on my phone for 1 year later, so I guess it's time to make this video. Dear future Levi, have we hit rank 1 NA with Crossbow Rozzi yet? I totally forgot about this actually. Of course this would be the first thing that I write about. This was the single change I was most excited for with 1.0. Before Eternal Return 1.0 was announced and that the game would be only squads mode, almost all the characters in the game got some sort of change, and I mean almost all of them. There was a huge cut to characters with overloaded CC in their kit, and a lot of single target characters were given AoE abilities to help with squads. One of the changes that were announced at the time was that sometime in the future, Rozzi would be given a crossbow weapon. I was super excited for this change at the time. Swift Stride Sharanga Rozzi with armor pen sounded insane for her. Rozzi's E also used to have two parts to it, where the first part was the vault, and the second part could push a target into a wall and stun, much like crossbow skill. Since this was removed for 1.0, I was hoping that she would get crossbow immediately on release, but as you can all see, Rozzi still doesn't have crossbow yet. Hopefully we can hold out in the future for that. Today, Eternal Return has just been released, and I'm feeling incredibly excited. If you don't remember, we just finished working on 8 videos for preparation of release. Hope locking yourself in that cabin was worth it. Okay, alright. So, when Eternal Return got announced that it would be released on July 20th, 2023, I wanted to put out a video at least every other day starting the week before the release to the week after the release. In addition to scripting, recording, and editing each video, I also wanted to stream coaching and launch the start of Eternal Return lore quizzes on my community tab. I was in between jobs at the time, so I had a lot of hours that I could dedicate to it. I went up to my parents' cabin in northern Canada in the middle of the woods and wrote the scripts, scheduled 3 months of lore quizzes, planned out all the footage, and recruited some help from my goat Miracles for 5 days straight. I remember drinking Monster and eating ramen exclusively for those 5 days. Oddly, it was a lot of fun, and I don't think I've ever talked about it. Most of the videos from between was Eternal Return Early Access worth playing and my Eternal Return guide from the League of Legends players were written in those 5 days. I think I even remember getting sick after doing it, but it was a lot of fun. Before playing, I honestly expected nothing to feel different, but after binging and streaming the release all night, I'm super excited to experience more and more of these changes. In reality, the game felt incredibly refreshing, and playing in houses with some of the long-term players was incredibly fun. One thing that surprised me was just how small of a change of adding pizza to the game would take over the community. After going on Twitter, or I guess now X, that was the only thing anyone was talking about. Not the map changes, not the twins Debbie and Marlene. Pizza. I remember the whole pizza epidemic. People were excited that you could just get a slice of pizza once per zone, and I think it was honestly a staple in the community moments for this game. I remember being incredibly excited that night of release. I started stream like an hour before the game was even up, and just reran Eternal Return Rewind to hopefully get people excited and staying up for midnight launch. I also remember during this time I was so excited that I went and had a shower because I knew I'd be staying up till 6 AM playing. A few days before, we had gotten the full Eternal Return trailer on IGN's YouTube channel, and the quality was very much new for us older players, especially for those that remember the Kill to Live trailer. We were excited to hopefully get a full advertising push for the game, and we were all excited that the game was finally going to be polished and presented, and that the new changes that were coming with 1.0 would make the game feel new again. The only thing that got me less excited was the removal of solos. The gameplay is pretty smooth. Nimble Neuron had announced that they would be porting the game to a newer version of Unity, and the game would be more responsive and smoother. I'm not sure how much smoother I was expecting, but I think the game feels smoother. One thing that I hate after day 1 of playing is that the HUD is so small, it makes moving items around a pain, and also your items don't disappear off the top when you complete your build, taking up space. It gets in the way, and I honestly hope it gets reverted soon, but I do like how your equipped items have been switched around. The graphics and design are way more sleek and nicer to look at, but the color palette is so dull. Everything is like a slate gray, and while it does capture the dullness of being trapped on the island, it looks a little depressing. Oh yeah, they also reset all the key bindings, so my first game was a nightmare. Actually, I think both of these changes did eventually get addressed. I'll show a comparison of what the HUDs look like in case you don't remember what I'm talking about, but I think the current HUD is definitely the best HUD we've had. The community is still incredibly wholesome, but I can tell we definitely have a few toxic League players coming in. While all the custom games I've played have had long-term players relearning the mechanics of the game, whenever I've queued up for normal games, I've seen a lot of toxic players just refuse to play after one bad fight. I imagine this will be a trend going forward, and hopefully it doesn't take too much up of the player base. Speaking of connecting with others, hopefully we try and play more events and tournaments going forward, now that we're streaming more consistently. Did we ever get that dream collab we wanted? Did we do that Rozzi cosplay? Yeah, I ended up playing an Eternal Return Creator Clash in seasons 1, 2, and 4. I missed season 3 due to a work event, all of which they were really eventful. In Creator Clash 1, it was me, Simply Pari, and Lunari on the team. Lunari unfortunately had a home emergency to take care of after the first game, so Pari and I ended up playing the tournament 2v3, and we actually held our own for a bit. I think we finished 4th or 5th with very little points separating us out of the top 3. Video in the card above. In Creator Clash Season 2, I was with All Out Attack and the Lil Yandere. We ended up winning this tournament after just barely making it out of qualifiers. I never did a dedicated video to this, but I did want to. I still have the footage from it, so let me know in the comments if you want to see it. You can also watch the full POV of our team unedited in the card above. For the Season 4 Creator Clash tournament, it was announced that Team Mythic, consisting of Bustin' TV, I Keep It Taco, and Double Lift, would actually play. I wasn't selected to play in this, but I was DM'd by a tournament organizer like 10 minutes before it started to potentially fill in as a sub. I was around and got to play on a team with Esther and Passant where we finished 3rd. And about that dream collab, yeah, we actually did. From the early days of early access, I wanted to make a video with Nero at some point, and I was happy when he agreed to do one. He's been one of my content creator goats, as someone I look up to, and I was really happy when the video we did together did well on the channel. Oh man, the Rozzi cosplay though? No, we haven't done that one yet, but I guess we're close. Amongst some other goals, at 1k followers on Twix, I said I would do a Rozzi cosplay. I still plan to. I wanted to do it at an event, especially with ER being at PAX East, but I didn't end up getting out to it. Rozzi has since had a maid skin since the event, so if you ever want to see IRL me in a maid Rozzi outfit, be sure to follow me on Twix. Info is in my pinned tweet. Playing squads compared to solos is a little rough. We told ourselves that we would play to learn the first couple weeks, but I find it hard to just play for fun. I find myself trying to find the errors in my play, and it's hard to do that in squads. Honestly, I still find this hard. I'm very much someone who likes to focus on their own play and the takeaways I can get from each game and how I can do better myself. But it's sure hard if a teammate just decides not to group or play on their own, or engage in obviously losing fight. By no means do I play every fight perfectly, but it's hard to salvage information from a play that you're not likely to experience from game to game. Are we still finding enjoyment in other parts of the game? How's the lore? We were promised a lore overhaul at some point. I think the missions are a great addition as they give snippets of the lore. I unfortunately didn't get to do the lore video I wanted to showcasing them, but I think that they very much contribute to the immersion of the game. There's also a few Eternal Return fan projects in the work, including an Eternal Return RPG game, which is exciting. Compared to other games we're playing, Eternal Return is still by far the most fun game I've played. I've come to love the MOBA Battle Royale hybrid genre and would love to experience more games of that variety. I actually talked about this in my most recent video about Supervive, but Eternal Return was my first game blending this genre, and I definitely feel like it's one of my favorites. I definitely have high hopes for Supervive, a similar style game. If you do like Eternal Return and haven't seen my video on that, click the card above, showcasing some of the comparisons. We're also set to have another playtest on August 1st, so I hope that I see some of you all in that. In the next year, I predict that Eternal Return will hopefully take off with all the new advertising, and will be a semi-mainstream game. I hope the game will receive more content creators on the YouTube side, and the YouTube partners of Eternal Return will receive more light as well. Also, how's hacking? Has it become our go-to mechanic for winning games? Are we a JP main? This is a complicated one. By the end of August 2023, just over a month after release, Eternal Return saw an average of 11,000 players, peaking at 28,000, in an upward trend. While this was a crazy amount of players to experience at the time, I think everyone knew it wasn't going to be sustained. After dipping all the way down to 4,000 player average, we're on the upward climb again, averaging 9,000 players with a peak of 23,000 players according to Steam charts. For more, it feels like I see a lot of players trying to get into the game, and new faces turn up very often, but having players stay with the game has seemed to be an issue. Hopefully this gets addressed at some point. As for new content creators, specifically on the YouTube side, yeah, we've been getting some. I love to see it. I want to highlight some of the newer content creators that I think make great Eternal Return content, so shout out to Grebbins, Athena Kai, Today on Lumia Island, and long-term player Simply Bad at Everything Pari, who's been uploading more recently. Hacking though, unfortunately, that still isn't in the game yet. If you're unfamiliar, Nimble Neuron introduced hacking as a concept in a dev stream way back in the day, stating it would be an alternate way to win the game apart from fighting, similar to Escape. The game Eternal Return is based on Immortal Soul Black Survival, featured a character named JP, known for his hacking. JP is the last remaining character from Immortal Soul to be added to Eternal Return, and it's likely he will be introduced whenever hacking becomes available. I was really excited for an alternate way to win outside of just combat, so hopefully he comes soon. I know there's a lot of JP fans out there waiting for him. And surely we're still grinding the rank ladder, right? Do we have a top 15 NA finish yet? Oof. Wow. This one kind of hurts a bit. This was my original rank goal for some time during full release. No, we're unfortunately not still grinding the rank ladder. Going into Season 1.0, I had never played a game of squads before, and I was a little worried about the transition. At the end of Season 9 of solos, I had finished rank 19. with peaking at rank 9 for a few weeks beforehand. But that was just a solos rank. I've never played a single game of squads on my account throughout the 9 seasons of early access, and because I had no squads info, I started in bronze 4 in 1.0. I did manage to climb all the way to mithril and even finish one slot away from Titan. And while that was a huge accomplishment for me, I didn't really enjoy the climb. Having the accomplishment was fun, but the journey to do it wasn't. As each season went on, I found it harder and harder to try and grind the rank ladder to the point where I would take 2-month-long breaks from even touching the game. Ugh. It actually hurts a little how excited I was for 1.0 and knowing how it feels. Sorry, past Levi. We're not in the same spot anymore. I hope all in all, we're still having a good time with the game. We've put in a ton of hours and I hope it's still every bit rewarding as when we started. Remember when we started making Eternal Return videos and we had 100 subscribers and average 6 views per video? At the time of writing this letter, we just hit monetization requirements for YouTube with 1,000 subscribers, and we're doing well. I hope we've grown a lot since then too. Yeah, we have. We're approaching 3,000 now. I think my past self would be very proud of the YouTube journey at least. Content creation has always been something important to me, and I want to keep pushing at it. I never want the quality of my videos to suffer because I'm not enjoying the content of what I'm making, which is why I'm giving Supervive content a shot. Yes, just like Eternal Return, it's still a team-based battle royale MOBA, but it being a new game is what's currently carrying my excitement. It's nice learning something new from the start. Thanks so much for watching. This video was actually a little hard to make at the end. A year ago, I was expecting it to be a little different than how it ended up. If your interest got piqued from me mentioning Supervive over and over, click or tap the screen now, and you'll be taken to my latest video on the game.